Hello and thanks for joining me for this week's track guide for Daily Race B around Autodrome Lago Maggiore Centre in reverse. This is in the Group 4 cars. I did something a little bit different for this week because it's only a short track, so we've got first of all the track guide in the Megane, and then we're going to be doing it in the Lancer, which seems like in the right hands it is the faster car overall, but there's some quite different driving styles between the two. Just before we get into the actual track guide, I just want to say thanks for everybody who came over from Super GT's video the other week. Really been growing in terms of subscribers and views since then, so hopefully that carries on and you continue to enjoy the videos. But yeah, let's get into the track guide here. We're going to be brake balance all the way to the rear on both of these cars, so +5 for the Megane and for the Lancer. I do think you can be equally fast in either, and we get just under the 47 second mark, so 46.9s in both cars. So let's see how it's done. So we're starting off here in the Megane, and what we need to bear in mind with this car is that it is front wheel drive, so we're going to be a little bit easier on the power coming out of the corners and using a little bit of short shifting as well to make sure that we're not spinning the wheels up. In the Group 4 cars especially, I find it helpful to follow a ghost, so we're going to be following the ghost of the number 1 Megane time that was up at the time of setting this. First brake marker we're looking out for is this white line coming across the track, and we're going to brake just after that before the start of the red and white curb. Trail brake in and get down to second gear, get your tyres right over next to or just on this orange sausage curb, and you see as soon as we start feeding the power and we short shift to third gear, so you want to make sure that you are short shifting and accelerating in third there. Shifting pretty much as soon as the revs hit the top of the gear here, you don't need to rev it out too much. You can ride this sausage curb, but it doesn't really make too much difference with your stages to the left of it. Next brake marker is just after the start of the curb. Here we're going to keep it in fourth in the Megane, so a little bit of brake, so you'll get off that fairly quickly to let the car come across, get right next to that sausage curb, and here just on this dark patch of tarmac, so it's where the orange barrier sort of finishes on your left, going to brake down to second gear and just want to be careful feeding the power in this car, and then a bit of a lift as you shift into third gear. Use a bit of that curb on the right hand side and then flat out for the exit. Now before we move on to the Lancer lap, we're going to just re-watch that lap in full speed, and I'll try and point out the brake marker for that final chicane a little bit more clearly. So let's go around here then at regular speed. So as we mentioned, first brake marker we're looking out for is the white line coming across the track, braking just after that. Trail brake down, second gear to turn the car in, but then short shift to third as soon as you start feeding the power in. You'll see when I'm feeding the power in this car, it is more of a gradual thing, so it's quite a smooth push on the pedal or the trigger depending on what you're using. Next brake marker being just after the start of the red and white curb at the dip here, down to fourth, and here there's a slightly dark patch just there as the orange barrier finishes on your left. Get the car right over onto this yellow curb to get the right angle for the exit, and that was good enough for a 46.9, I forget exactly, 46.998, so just in the 46s. Now this is the Mitsubishi lap, and the big difference with this car is you need to be very early on the power and be very aggressive with how you put the power down as well. It's going to help rotate the car, and it's going to be where all the speed comes from with this particular vehicle. Brake markers and gearing are very similar, but we'll go through them. So again, just after the white line that comes across the track here, getting onto the brakes, and once again using second gear, but this time you're going to accelerate in second gear and accelerate quite aggressively as you get to the apex of that corner. I could have actually been a little bit further over towards the curb on this lap, which would have built me some more time, but say make sure you're really aggressive on the power coming out of there. You can get on it incredibly early. Definitely stay to the left of the sausage in this car. The line just doesn't really seem to work as well without doing that. Braking in the same point here, but we're going to come down to third, and again you can get on the power a little bit earlier. See here I'm feeding the power in as we're coming up around the corner. Exactly the same brake marker for the final chicane, but we want to get the car right over on the left hand side here. You want two tyres to be coming across the grass. Again, feeding the power in very aggressively, keep it in second, bit of a lift, and use this curb to help you rotate, and then shift to third after you're accelerating out onto the straight. So you're going to rev the gears out a little bit more in this car as well. Once again, we're going to go through and just watch that lap in full speed. So as we said, we are going to be revving the gears out here especially fourth gear. You want to make sure that you hold fourth pretty much the whole way until just before you brake in for this first corner to maximise your speed. And you see just how early and aggressively I get on the power, just drifting a little bit wide there. I lose about a tenth through this first sector, and it's because of my exit from that corner. So definitely mid 46 is possible in this car. I think 46.5, 46.6 will be possible if you really nail it. And same braking marker here, just on the dip, but down to third gear, feed the power in and braking on this slightly darker patch of tarmac, right over to the left, hard on the power before you're even fully off that curb, and then a bit of a lift and revving second out, obviously being careful to miss that barrier on the left. So I hope that's been helpful. Do like the video and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it, and good luck with your laps.